next on the news.
That's what we're celebrating, is the establishment of a parish.
Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan reflecting on the history of the Cathedral Basilica of St. James and also looking ahead to the future on its 200th anniversary. And federal agents raid the Mar-a-Lago home of former President Trump, how it marked a dramatic escalation of law enforcement scrutiny against him. A St. Francis Prep football coach comes through big for his team, how he fared in a dangerous charity swim. Plus, a Duke football player who's winning over his teammates with his singing voice. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now.
The beginning of a big diocesan-wide celebration.
It started back in January with a special mass by Bishop Robert Brennan to mark the beginning of a year to celebrate the Cathedral Basilica of St. James. The Brooklyn Church is rich with history, 2 centuries worth to be exact. The faithful from all over the diocese and beyond will come together to celebrate the cathedral's milestone anniversary. This Sunday, August 14th, everyone is welcome to attend Mass at St. James to remember its 200th anniversary as a church. Here to tell us more about the celebration is Bishop Robert Brennan. Hi, Bishop.
Hi, Christine. It's good to be talking with you today.
It's nice to see you as well. As the first church built on Long Island, St. James has definitely played a big role in unifying Catholics. I know both New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan and Bishop John Barris from Rockville Center will be at the Mass with you this weekend. How does the cathedral tie all 3 dioceses together?
Well, back in 200 years ago, when a group of people who were living here in Brooklyn were looking for a church, at that time they would have to cross over the East River by boat, which was not an easy thing to do. And so they petitioned, they asked for a church to be built here, for a parish to be established. See, that's what we're celebrating, is the establishment of a parish. And so on New Year's Day in 1822, they sought the possibility of establishing a parish. And then on the Feast of St. James, it was established as such. And so we're celebrating this bicentennial year. But what we celebrate is really the beginning of the life of the church, not just a moment here or there, but the fact of the matter that the church as a vibrant community of people of God sharing their faith, giving praise to God, are established as a parish. And that's the beginning of the parish life here on Long Island, the counties Brooklyn, Queens, Nassau, Suffolk.
Yeah, it's like everybody has a connection to this parish. And as you know, you mentioned the immigrants that built this parish. The Diocese of Brooklyn is known as the Diocese of Immigrants. Here we have masses in dozens of languages every day. But how do we bring everyone together? Can events like this Mass this weekend do that, bring everyone together?
One of the things we do in the church, Monsignor Strinkowski describes it as we celebrate incarnational moments. We celebrate those moments that have tangible effects in our history, and certainly the establishment of the parish of St. James is one of those key moments. And yes, so that's really the goal, is our being together at Mass at the Cathedral Basilica, but also the presence of Net TV and how we have that outreach, because St. James Cathedral plays an important part in our mission to, especially the homebound, but to that wider television audience, those who join us, to tie it together. So our experience of prayer at St. James Cathedral now is shared with people all throughout the diocese and even beyond. But even more than that, we have this event, and we're really hoping that this whole year is a time of celebration. We want to reinvigorate the idea of pilgrimage groups, maybe parish groups coming to visit the Cathedral Basilica, to make a visit. I know a high school out on Long Island, one of their summer camps, they came in 2 different groups, came to make this part of a pilgrimage. St. James is so tied up with the idea of pilgrimage. So we want to see people come and visit and remember the roots of our faith here in Long Island.
Yeah, so it really does speak to the past and the future. Talk about the significance of this anniversary and how, there's always been a constant. I was listening to your podcast. You were talking about how, one thing has always remained the same, even though the diocese keeps changing, and that's the Eucharist, right?
That's right. So for 200 years, think about the changes that we've seen. We'll just use ourselves in Brooklyn and Queens. The many different immigrant groups that came in different waves at different times all the way through. The development of Brooklyn 200 years ago was basically farmland. We've seen its ups, we've seen its downs. One constant is the Eucharist. The Eucharist has been celebrated here regularly. The Eucharist has gathered people together. 33 different languages in Brooklyn and Queens every week, but it's the same Eucharist. It's the same Jesus Christ who gives himself to us, and then it's the same Jesus Christ who sends us forth now as his witnesses in the world. That's the constant.
Absolutely. And Bishop, you grew up in New York, and St. James is your home cathedral. What is your favorite memory at the church?
I'll tell you something. I really didn't come to know it, even though, I'm a part of Long Island until I was in the seminary. So I know I've been there for diocesan events when I was a seminarian, so it brings me back to the time of my formation. But going back even further, my dad, he talks about being in school at St. Bridget's in Ridgewood and at St. Francis Prep. And he didn't use the word pilgrimage, but he said, I remember we made a trip to St. James Cathedral. So there's a family tie, that sense of pilgrimage that's been there through the generations. And then, of course, coming here now as bishop, the day I was announced, we made a visit to St. James and meeting Father Patterson and having a chance to pray there. That'll always be a highlight for me, that first visit coming after being named the Bishop of Brooklyn and Queens.
Okay, Bishop Robert Brennan, thanks so much for being here with us, and we look forward to the big celebration this weekend.
Thank you. God bless.
Again, that Mass will be at the Cathedral Basilica of St. James on Sunday, August 14th at 2 p.m. It's open to all, but even if you can't come, don't worry. The Mass will be broadcast live on Net TV. Again, that Mass will be on Sunday, August 14th at 2 p.m. There are a few ways to get to St. James. Of course, you can drive and find a few parking garages close by, but there are also different ways you can get there by train. You can take the A, C, F, or R train to J Street Metro Tech. From there, you just walk down J Street for 2 blocks and you're right there. You can also take the 2, 3, 4, or 5 train to Borough Hall. Once you get out of the subway, just walk down Cadman Plaza East away from Borough Hall and make a right on Tillery Street and then a left at J Street. For both ways, you should see St. James on the right side of the street. The New York City Council held a special hearing Tuesday to discuss the recent surge of asylum seekers arriving from the southern border. The meeting briefed council members on the current status and needs of the city's homeless shelters. But speaking at the hearing, Mayor Eric Adams called the situation an emergency and blamed Texas Governor Greg Abbott for sending busloads of migrants to New York City. Abbott has also sent buses carrying thousands of migrants to Washington, D.C. We're about a month away from the start of the school year, and yet funding for city schools remains in limbo. On Friday, the Adams administration filed an appeal after a judge's ruling threw out the Department of Education's budget. Last month, 2 teachers and 2 parents filed a lawsuit in Manhattan Supreme Court claiming the city violated state law when it made huge funding cuts based on declining enrollment. Now, until the city council revisits the budget, the city must fund the school system at the same levels it did last fiscal year.
That's right. Another day in paradise. This was a strange day. You probably all read about it.
A developing story now. That was former President Donald Trump after the FBI raided his Mar-a-Lago home in Florida. This operation is just part of one investigation into Trump and his time in office.
We're a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never before. We've never seen anything like this.
Former President Donald Trump released this new campaign-style video on his website, Truth Social, Tuesday morning, just hours after the FBI raided his home in Mar-a-Lago and seized items from it.
The purpose of the raid, from what they said, was because the National Archives wanted to, corroborate whether or not Donald Trump had any documents in his possession.
It's part of an investigation into the possible mishandling of presidential documents. Investigators apparently looking into whether Trump took classified records from the White House to his Florida residence. Searching the home of a former president is very rare, and in a statement, Trump said, "These are dark times in our nation," and called the unannounced raid prosecutorial misconduct. But in order to get a search warrant,
you have to go before a federal judge and convince that judge that there is probable cause to believe both that a federal crime has been committed and that evidence of that crime is contained within the space.
But Trump supporters aren't buying it. They gathered nearby his Florida estate Monday night.
They're very petrified about him announcing that he's going to run for president.
Those against Donald Trump also came out.
I love seeing these people come out here and they know that he's guilty of something and he's going to go down for this, and it's going to be a great day, man.
While some Republican lawmakers spoke out after the incident, even a very well-known Democrat took issue with it. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo raised concerns over the FBI search, saying in a tweet that the Department of Justice must immediately explain the reason for its raid so it's not viewed as a political tactic. Taiwan's ambassador to the Holy See has condemned China's reaction to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's recent visit to the island. In a statement, Taiwanese Ambassador Matthew Lee called China's decision to hold military drills around the region inflammatory, juvenile, and dangerous. Following Pelosi's visit, China has been flying aircraft near Taiwan and Japan's westernmost islands and test firing missiles. It's a move Taiwan's foreign minister is calling a serious provocation. And in response, Taiwan's military has launched their own live-fire artillery drills in the southern part of the island Tuesday. Taiwan's defense ministry says the drills are regular exercises aimed at boosting the military's readiness, and they have not been scheduled in response to China's actions in the area. Pope Francis is offering support for firefighters and first responders in Cuba after an oil-fed fire erupted on the island last Friday. Reaching out to Cuban bishops, the Holy Father said he's praying for all Cubans and especially those affected by the fire. It began after lightning struck an oil facility in the northwestern part of the island, triggering a series of explosions. According to officials, one person has died and at least 121 others have been reported injured. The pontiff has long been close to the Cuban church and last visited the island in 2015. There's a lot more news headed your way. Stories of kindness and charity are pouring out of Kentucky following those deadly floods. We show you the surprise donations a football coach and his team received. The Biden administration taking a step to boost production of a tiny little chip that's an essential part of a ton of everyday products. Plus, back-to-school shopping can be tough for teachers, but an Indianapolis Colts player is fulfilling dozens of their wish lists.
There are now some big changes to the tablet website. You can get personalized access to the Catholic news you value. Sign up for free at thetablet.org.
People in parts of Kentucky are working through some difficult days after devastating flooding hit the state. But a high school football coach and his team in Madison County received some surprise donations to help them out. Jeremy Toombs tells us how a Christian church and the rest of the community stepped up to help.
The Breathitt County football team is used to tackling its toughest opponents on Friday nights in the fall. But this year, the Bobcats' greatest challenge came before school even started. Madison Central Principal Brandon Fritz heard the harrowing stories from the floods, including that of assistant coach Casey Allen.
At 5 o'clock, my wife woke up to a big bang, and there was water running in the basement. Eventually, had to get the kids up on the hill to safety.
Allen and his wife quickly realized the dangers of getting stranded on a hillside with 4 children. So they came up with a plan, kayaking through the current to their neighbors.
I told her, it's like, oh, I could try it, but if this current takes me, the best case scenario is I end up down there and I won't be able to get back to you.
Alan paddled back and forth through the rising waters 6 times to bring his family to safety.
To hear his story, it was tough to just listen.
So Fritz wanted to give him and the whole team more than just hot meals and a warm welcome. They worked with the Southland Christian Church to bring the players and Coach Allen some very special surprises.
The gift they've given you is $1,000 shopping spree today. Love you, buddy.
They pulled together thousands in gift cards for the players. And for Allen,
and they've got you a vehicle to help you through your times. And,
a blessing from complete strangers, which shows him how God always has a plan, even during the darkest of days.
And if this doesn't tell you that God's real, I don't know what will, because there's good people out there, guys, and we've been surrounded by so much love. And I don't feel I deserve that.
That was Jeremy Toombs reporting. In total, the players received more than $6,000 in gift cards. Members of the Knights of Columbus, through their nonprofit disaster relief organization Caring Knights, are collecting money and relief supplies to send to Kentucky. If you want to send a monetary donation, just go to their website, caringknightsny.org. You can also bring supplies to their drop-off locations. The Brooklyn spot is at St. Finbar Council, 15728. That's located at 138 Bay 20th Street. In Queens, you can go to the Monsignor Sherman Council, located at 7903 Myrtle Avenue in Glendale. More help for Ukraine is on the way. On Monday, the White House pledged another $1 billion in new military aid for the war-torn country. According to the Pentagon, the package includes high-mobility artillery rockets, 75,000 artillery rounds, and armored medical treatment vehicles. This announcement brings the total U.S. security assistance committed to Ukraine by the Biden administration to more than $9 billion. President Biden signed a bill into law on Tuesday that he hopes will be a solution to the chip shortage that's been affecting the production of smartphones and cars. The bipartisan measure is meant to boost U.S. semiconductor production by investing more than $200 billion over the next 5 years. Mike Valerio has the details.
Today is a day for builders. Today, America is delivering.
President Joe Biden vowing the future of the high-tech semiconductor chip industry will be made once again in America.
We produce 0% of these advanced chips now, and China is trying to move away ahead of us.
Why this matters to families across the country? Well, right now, there's a global shortage of semiconductor chips. That has led to worldwide delays in auto manufacturing and us paying more for new cars. A lack of chips often means months of wait times for those who make new phones, medical equipment, and parts the defense industry needs.
Our over-reliance on foreign manufacturers is a real vulnerability. But as has been said, that's going to change.
The CHIPS Act invests more than $200 billion over the next 5 years to help America regain a top role in making semiconductors. At the moment, Taiwan produces most of them. But with the growing threat of military conflict between Taiwan and mainland China, the Pentagon says it's essential to make more chips here.
Taiwan itself is, among the most impactful economic entities on planet Earth. I mean, it provides something like, 70 to 90% of the most advanced semiconductors that everybody's iPhone and laptops and everything else runs on.
Mike Valerio, Currents News.
Still to come on Currents News, an important update on the football coach who swam 2 miles of shark-infested waters for his students. You'll be amazed at how he did and how much he raised. Plus, sounds pretty good, right? Well, wait until you see the man behind the voice. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. Congratulations are in order for a St. Francis Prep football coach who finished a difficult charity swim on Sunday. Coach Richroll swam 2 miles from Alcatraz prison to San Francisco through shark-infested waters, all to raise money for a portable scoreboard for the school. The football coach completed the swim in just under an hour and managed to raise more than $13,000. And of course, he did it all with the encouragement of his fellow Terriers, hundreds liking and congratulating the coach's achievement on the school's Facebook page. And Coach Carroll will join us tomorrow to talk all about the journey. Did his training help in the treacherous 2-mile swim? How did it feel to make it to the finish line? He'll answer it all Wednesday on Currents News. An Indianapolis Colts player is making moves on and off the field. Yannick Ngakoue is helping out teachers across the state with their back-to-school shopping. As Tyler Tannenbaum reports, he plans to help out 91 teachers. 91 also happens to be his jersey number.
The guy's only been here a couple of months, but already the veteran pass rusher has shown his value in terms of play and leadership on the field. The guy doesn't take a play off. And he's also trying to make an impact in the community. So this week he did something special for some teachers around the state as they get ready to head back to school.
Teachers are like the biggest superheroes in this country.
Yannick Ngakoue remembers what it was like growing up in a low-income household. He remembers sometimes going to school without food or money and how his teachers stepped up to help.
One lady, her name was Miss Rawlings. She noticed that I didn't have lunch certain days, and she would take from her own lunch and make sure I eat.
Teachers give a lot out of their own pockets, and Ngakoue knows that sacrifice firsthand. So that's why this week he wanted to do something, anything to help ease the burden on educators. So he hopped on Twitter and asked local Indiana teachers to post their Amazon wish lists, and instantly the responses came pouring in.
My brother-in-law sent me a text and was like, oh my gosh, you need to post your list.
Erin Eads is a kindergarten teacher at Southview Elementary School just south of Muncie.
Did you think that you were actually going to receive items? What did you think?
It's one of those things where you're like, oh, this would be so cool if it happened, but I wasn't really getting my hopes up because I just didn't know. And then the Amazon guy came yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh.
Eads was shocked to find a package on her doorstep from Ngakoue full of pretzels, animal crackers, Play-Doh, and books, along with a personalized message inside.
I was really emotional about it. I think just the fact that, you know, a complete stranger who has a huge platform is so willing to help others who he doesn't even know. And I work in a Title I school, so we have a high poverty rate. And so it almost made me emotional in that way too, is that, you know, our kids and our community and our families are seen.
And so far, Ngakoue says he's reached out to 31 teachers and he's still going, with 91 as the ultimate goal.
It's better than getting a sack on a Sunday. You know, it makes my heart warm, and at the end of the day, football will be done. And it's all about the mark that you leave.
What do you think the kids will think when they find out a Colts player is the one that got them all of these snacks when it's snack time?
They will be shocked.
That's so great. That was Taylor Tannenbaum reporting. And the Colts star says he is not stopping after he's helped 91 teachers. He tweeted, "Little surprises will continue throughout the season with bigger plans for next year." Can't wait to see what that is. And finally, he's a 6'7", 329-pound football player with the voice of an angel. Wow. Meet Chance Lytle, an offensive lineman on Duke's football team, the Blue Devils. But during training camp, he proved that his voice is anything but offensive. And that voice didn't come out of nowhere. Lytle transferred to Duke from the University of Colorado, where he graduated with a dual degree in music and voice performance and psychology. I wonder if he plays as good as he sings. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.